listeners in Listenerland, welcome to St. Louis in Tune with Arnold Stricker and Mark Langston, where we size up current and historic events involving people, places, and things in areas such as the arts, crime, education, employment, faith, finance, food, government, health, history, housing, humor, justice, and sports. We originate from and connect the gateway city to what's going on nationally and internationally. Well, Mark, how are you today, sir?
I'm okay. I think you covered everything.
I think it's time for the show to be over now. Oh, okay.
I think everything. You just covered everything, every possible angle.
A lot going on locally, nationally, and internationally.
It is everywhere.
Which we will try to accomplish in our hour today. Right. People will always ask, why do you have people from other radio stations on? And it's because we are so community-oriented and community-minded, and we're not selfish. It's like spread the wealth, and I do like classical music, too.
Oh, yeah.
We have Kathy Lutton-Brown from Classic 107.3, the voice for the arts in St. Louis, and she's here to talk about an event tonight, Mark, that's going to take place under the stars. And Kathy, tell us about this event, and welcome back to St. Louis in Tune.
Applaud here, the Kathy's here.
Well, thanks for the applause.
The Pistachio Gallery.
Once a performer, always a performer.
That's right.
Thank you. Well, first of all, Mark, I think it's wonderful that you got the pastries, and I'm surprised because I thought you were already on a sugar high.
I know.
You gotta get those sugar highs every now and then.
Arnold brought me some coffee this morning from somewhere. One of that spice pumpkin things.
Spice coffee.
I'm not a big spice guy, but it does taste good.
Oh yeah, a little liquid ambition.
That's what
Absolutely.
Right.
By the way, folks, as you can tell, we radio people do have fun, even if we are from competing stations.
Absolutely.
Not competing, just friendly stations. Because
Right.
we're not. We're not.
It's not a fisticuff enemy kind of thing.
No.
And I think the thing is, I think a lot of the listeners really get a kick out of the fact that, radio people do cross-pollinate from time to time. And
Yes,
I think
we
that's
do.
a wonderful thing to do because it shows that we are committed to community and to making the world a better place and to really raising the overall water level, shall we say,
Right. Committed to terrestrial radio also.
Yes, absolutely.
What a concept.
What a concept. Yeah,
Terrestrial.
get your can and your string and
Make sure that string is really good.
really tight.
Tight, right.
Well, Arnold, I should thank you for the great setup on this, and then I immediately took a hard left, so
No worries.
Another exit ramp. Okay.
another exit ramp.
But here's an entrance ramp.
There is an entrance ramp, and I'll start it by saying, we were talking about radio personalities and folks in radio. My husband used to tease me because I'm a professional singer and have been since I was 17. And he and I met in the Air Force Band in Washington, D.C. I was one of the singing sergeants. And he used to tease me by saying, oh, yeah, she makes her living running her mouth.
And you're still married to him.
Just, just funny stuff.
Well, we're in radio because we have faces for radio.
Me too. Absolutely. Well, with Classic 107.3, which started life as the Radio Arts Foundation, but is now identified by Classic 107.3, which is much more
Hoity-toity.
easily remember. Well, it's more the Radio Arts Foundation. Everybody thought that we were some sort of a charity organization, which in a sense we are. We're not-for-profit radio, but we're Classic 107.3 right now, and that's what we're staying with. We're sticking with that story, and we're at 107.3 on the FM dial, and then we also broadcast on the HD2 channel of 96.3 HD2, which is WFUN. So it's nice because that has a little more clarity, a little more reach, and we've had a recent change in our leadership. We have a new CEO and GM. Her name is Julie Schuster, just a marvelous, marvelous lady. Sharp, beautiful people skills, able to speak in public off the cuff, not be worried about what she might say and that sort of thing. She's just very gracious. She knows the proper thing to say and the right thing to say at any given moment. She also has good vision for what the station is doing and wants to continue to do. And she's just been a real benefit to us. She's just been in her office here officially for about a month. So I just wanted to be able to spread the word.
And where did she come from, Kathy?
Well, she's a St. Louisan. She's been very active in a lot of the different arts organizations. As a matter of fact, she and I first met when we were serving on the board of the Artist Presentation Society.
Okay.
And as I said, she's sharp. She is good at diagnosing what needs to be done next and making the appropriate moves to get there. So
Cool.
she's also done a lot of things with the station. She was a part-time announcer, and now she is our morning person, but she's going to be handing that over to a new employee by the name of Gabrielle, who's also an artist, an author, by the way. But she has also she's been our social media maven, so she's been working with the presence online and that sort of thing. So she has all these skills that she's acquired and really perfected, which is terrific because when you're hands-on as a GM
Right.
CEO, that's an invaluable gift.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're just so pleased to be able to celebrate her. Although that's not actually why we're doing this. This is just a plain old fundraiser, but I just had to shout her out because
She
she,
wants a raise.
that's good. It's-
She's
it's-
trying to get a raise, I think.
yeah, that's it.
Is
That's
that,
it.
You're working
That's
on
right.
that raise?
Julie, you can pay me later. That's it. Just schmoozing.
I'd give you a raise. Okay.
I didn't get a raise through COVID, so let's try this.
Nobody got a raise through COVID.
Be nice to the boss. Okay.
Through COVID, I think the last 2.5 years I have been with our feet firmly planted in midair.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really. It's just,
Well said.
oh, man. Matter of fact, the gentleman who's going to be playing at our event tonight, he and I did an interview here about a couple weeks ago, and he calls it the Covaissance because it was a renaissance for him because he went inward and started creating more.
Oh.
So the Covaissance, I think that's kind of a cool terminology, you know?
I think a lot of artists did that. I'm
Yes.
talking about musicians
Yes.
in the visual arts,
Yes.
performing arts kind of people. How can I be creative with people across the country and do, group kinds of things? And I'm sure literary artists also.
Yeah. You know, and the thing is that in some senses, I'm a big believer in trying to discover the good in something and go with that rather than, oh, woe is me. Because
Right.
if you choose to be a victim, most any aggressor will do. But, so if you look at the goodness and that silver lining of that cloud, it did give us a chance to stop our frenetic lifestyle. We always go 100 miles an hour with our hair on fire. Well, we had an opportunity to, okay, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. Get quiet. Listen. So I think a lot of creativity came out of this. I think relationships found new ways, sometimes more closely, sometimes
Apart.
we've moved apart. It's a very interesting dynamic that we're going through right now. There's no point in denying that it's going on, so we might as well just, try and make the best of it, I think.
A
But,
time of reflection that
yeah,
I think some people may have missed that along the way, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. Well, and the thing is that unfortunately, too, we've had such us and them kind of mentality, and
Yes.
we've got to kind of figure out that we're all humans.
We're
we
all
all
in this
have our
together.
pluses, our minuses, warts and all,
Yeah.
and that
got it.
and to be patient with each other. Sometimes we're least patient with ourselves,
Right.
True.
and then that goes out in terms of getting the claws out to everybody else, and we don't need to do that.
Yeah, it's an interesting time in how people come out of the Corona Renaissance or what?
Renaissance.
Yeah, COVID-sance.
Write that down, will you?
Are things like kind of what we're doing, talking about
Precisely.
it and celebrating some things where people have actually developed something and felt really good. And I didn't know this when you told me off the air that the musical guest, he's a St. Louis product, but man, he's just blossoming on the
Yeah.
West Coast right now. And
Yes, he is. His name is Ryan Marquez, and he's one of those people who's been working in this industry for 30 years, and all of a sudden things are just opening up and blooming, the 30-year overnight success. But he's very conversant in so many different styles, and that's really the beauty of it. And he has this quartet that's going to be playing tonight, and one of the things that we covered in the interview was the fact that he also, as do I, feels that the audience is not the audience. They are the participants in it. Because if you get an audience response to something, especially in a gig like this, where you're playing for people in a very intimate setting, it's not a prescribed program, their reactions, their feedback, their responses to what you're doing informs how you go ahead with your music. And they really are a participating thing. That's true of any musical performance,
Right.
because when you walk on that stage, you feel that energy.
Right.
You send it out, but you feel it coming back to
Right.
you as well. But this is even more so because it is an intimate setting.
Right. And that's like you said, that's even more prevalent because, the proximity with the audience and the performer is lessened.
Yeah.
But you can really feel that energy. You can feel, and if you're as a performer maybe not 100% energy-wise, it will boost you up. It will cause
Yes,
you
sir.
to, recharge and re-give back, and then it's like the cyclical kind of thing.
Absolutely. And it feeds upon each other.
Right.
And it's really great. So it's a communication,
Seriously.
literally.
You're coming up with all these new words today.
I'm just putting the emphasis on a different syllable, but,
So, yeah.
communication. But it really is. It is co.
Yeah. And so tonight, folks, it's September 9th, Friday, the Wine and Jazz Under the Stars, and this is going to be at Lamar Sculpture Park,
Right.
6 p.m.
Absolutely. Right. And if you call the number, we've actually stopped selling the tickets on the air, but if you call today, you could probably get a ticket, 314-881-3523. Now, this is a fundraiser. This is one of our couple of fundraisers that we do through the year. So as far as, an event is concerned. And so this has a cost of $95. But we're also doing something new this year, and we're doing a silent auction with it that is available through a group called GiveSmart, so that you can actually grab your phone and bid on the silent auction.
Ooh, that's
items.
dangerous.
I know. Get your dialing finger in shape.
Oh, I hit that by accident.
All right, they got it figured out now.
But you can see it all, and if you go to our website or the GiveSmart to do the silent auction angle of it, go to classic1073.givesmart.com, and that way you can see the auction items and all that kind of thing. We'll cover a couple of them in a minute. And our regular site I'll give out later, so I'm not confusing people. But the silent auction number, our address is classic1073.givesmart.com.
Yeah, so we're going to come back and talk about a little bit more about the details. This is an event that's taking place tonight at Lamar Sculpture Park, and it's going to feature the Ryan Marquez Quartet. So September 9th tonight, Wise and Jazz Under the Stars. So we'll talk more about what kind of silent auction items are going to be there, and also about the wine and spirits portion of that, okay?
And
this
the
is Arnold
food.
Stricker with Mark Langston of St. Louis in Tune.
At St. Louis in Tune, we strive to bring you informative, useful, and reflective stories, as well as interviews about current and historic issues and events that involve people, places, and things. We cover a wide range of topics, such as the arts, crime, education, employment, faith, finance, food, health, history, housing, humor, justice, and sports, and that's just to name a few. While St. Louis in Tune originates from the Gateway City and covers local topics, we also connect to what's going on nationally as well. If you missed any of our previously aired programs of St. Louis in Tune, simply visit stlintune.com. That's stlintune.com. There you'll find the show notes and everything that was mentioned in that episode and all the other great episodes as well. And if you've got an area that you'd like us to examine deeper, well, just let us know by dropping us a note at stlintune@gmail.com. That's stlintune@gmail.com. St. Louis in Tune. It's heard Monday through Friday on the USRadioNetwork.com and many great radio stations around the U.S. and, of course, right here in St. Louis. Our website again is stlintune.com. Visit us today. That's stlintune.com.
This is Arnold Stricker of St. Louis in Tune on behalf of the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation. In 1857, the Dred Scott decision was a major legal event and catalyst that contributed to the Civil War. The decision declared that Dred Scott could not be free because he was not a citizen. The 14th Amendment, also called the Dred Scott Amendment, granted citizenship to all born or naturalized here in our country and was intended to overturn the U.S. Supreme Court decision on July 9, 1868. The Dred Scott Heritage Foundation is requesting a commemorative stamp to be issued from the U.S. Postal Service to recognize and remember the heritage of this amendment by issuing a stamp with the likeness of the man Dred Scott. But we need your support and the support of thousands of people who would like to see this happen. To achieve this goal, we ask you to download, sign, and share the one-page petition with others. To find the petition, please go to dredscottlives.org and click on the Dred Scott Petition Drive on the right side of the page. On behalf of the Dred Scott Heritage Foundation, this has been Arnold Stricker of St. Louis in Tune. Welcome back to St. Louis in Tune. This is Arnold Stricker with Mark Langston. We're talking to Kathy Lawton Brown. She's a host and writer for Classic 107.3, and she's here to talk to us about Wine and Jazz Under the Stars, which is an event. It's a fundraising event for Classic 107.3 taking place tonight. September the 9th at 6 p.m. at Laumeier Sculpture Park. And again, if you wonder why is a station having another station on, it's like we cross paths way too often in this industry, and Mark more so because he's been in the industry, forever.
Can I say something too?
Absolutely.
I know. It's hard to get in with him. So
thanks, Mark.
Or me.
or me, right? So I just want to remind folks we stream right on KXOK right now. We're on KXOK.
Cool.
At 102.9. We're on the Odyssey app right now. You can go to kwrh929.org and listen to us. So we're trying to get our word out too.
Right.
And it's wonderful to have Kathy with us from Classic
107.3.
I know.
That's the nice thing about the U.S. radio network.
Yeah, and we're on the so we're all one big happy family, like Kathy said.
Yeah,
before.
and it's interesting because that was not necessarily always the case.
No. Not when I was.
Few claws out there in the years gone by. I'm glad that those have been put away.
Right.
I know.
No, but it truly is a question of we have so much fun together as broadcasters. Why not share that fun with the audience?
Right.
Truly,
Right.
that's really what we're all about.
And share knowledge and share different perspectives on things.
Absolutely, yeah. Because here, what we really do.
Could we use some more of that in the world?
Man, that's a
Kathy's
good
mouth is
concept.
open. Going,
We're
"What?
actually
What a
listening to each
concept."
other and having a conversation.
I know.
Wow, that's a concept that could catch on. Dang.
I know. Wonderful.
So I love
man.
some of these silent auction items.
Oh,
yeah.
golly. Well, people
and
have been so
A
generous.
couple things that they just kind of blew up out of the paper here were 2 signed bottles of wine and a book by Leonard Slatkin with 4 stainless steel wine glasses.
Cut it out.
Yeah. Now,
Ooh.
Leonard has had a wonderful presence on our station for the last several years. He does a program. He started with a group program called the Slatkin Shuffle. The premise being, how you have a shuffle on your
Your phone?
iPod, right? And so he has his assistants from his device dictate the program.
Oh, cool.
And so it's eclectic, it's fun. I mean, you might get everything from a Tchaikovsky performance to John Williams to Stan Freberg, the humorist from the 50s and 60s. Remember Stan Freberg?
Oh, yes.
It's great. And
Is
it
Maestro
might even
into
be
rap?
hard rock. I don't think I've heard a rap from the Maestro, but he may have, But he's got all these marvelous different things.
Yeah.
Some fabulous jazz cuts and things like
Yeah,
that.
he does love jazz.
Yeah, he does. And he's such a warm, giving individual. And what's really fun about this show is that he is that personality comes through. You feel like you know him better after you've listened to his show because you get those insights into his personality.
All right.
But he was all on board with this
Oh,
tonight
cool.
for the wine and jazz. And this is going to be at Laumeier. We're going to have a little, tent and all that. And I should really give credit to the catering company, which is Hendry's Catering. Some marvelous yummies and hors d'oeuvre. And then we also have wine from Bomarito Wine and Spirits.
Oh, yeah.
And we have beer from Urban Chestnut.
Oh,
So
nice.
whatever your pleasure, there you are. But
Right.
it ought to be great. And, of course, the Ryan Marquez Quartet. Now, some of the other auction items
Oh,
are
here's a
really
couple others
great.
that jumped out at
Yeah.
me. You've got a Cardinals basket, 4 tickets to the UMB Championship Club, and a Whitey Herzog
Oh,
bobblehead.
man. Have you ever been to the UMB Championship Club?
No, I have not.
That's where all of the trophies are. The World Series trophies are in there.
Oh, cool.
And the food is unbelievable.
Ooh.
It's all free, and the bar is open, and it's that exclusive spot. Yeah, I was.
Mark's the guy
there
who
are
knows.
2 of those things
Yeah,
on there.
There's 2 of those. That is what a great item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cardinals basket.
Now, that's not to
Wait.
dismiss some of the other fine things that are down here. We've got Opera Theater St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some tickets to the St. Louis Philharmonic. We've got a variety. And I'm just going to let you go
Rep-
on, Kathy.
Well, there are so many things, and the 4 tickets to all-inclusive PNC suite for the St. Louis Cardinals to back up into the baseball world for a minute. There's also a jeweler who we've sort of partnered with, of course, Mary Pillsbury Jewelers. She also is very, very present in our programming and so forth. She does a lot of underwriting. There's also another jeweler by the name of Blust's Jewelers, and they have a necklace with 2 rings and cleaning cloths, and also a $75. A gift certificate. I don't have the amount. $150 gift certificate, which is pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can get something pretty nice for $150. There are season subscriptions to St. Louis Classical Guitar. You mentioned Opera Theater of St. Louis. That is 2 tickets to one of the operas and a $100 gift certificate to Café Provençal. Let's see, gift certificates for wine tastings at PRP Wine. Lots. We're into wine, I think.
Yes, we.
We're just gonna go ahead.
It does say wine
Substance
and
abuse
jazz.
Problem. It does say wine and jazz. Okay. Sorry for those of you who are teetotalers. You don't have to drink it, but it's awfully nice. A gift card to Top Golf and
Oh, yeah.
Pilates of West County. They have. Let's see. There was one other I wanted to call out, and I'm looking for it.
Turn my savings account.
There's a
over.
slam
the rep,
membership
there. It is.
there.
Yes.
St. Louis
that's
Art
right,
Museum?
the St. Louis Art Museum. That's I have not been down there in way too long. I've got to get myself down there.
Shame on you.
I know. Shame on me. You're absolutely right,
It's
Mark.
true. It's
Yeah, because I've just been going like a bat out of hallelujah, and I haven't had a chance to get down there, So, but that's such a glorious treasure.
Oh, my, yes.
And people who come to St. Louis,
Oh, yeah.
always sure to bring them there and have them experience the beauty of that art museum. It's
Really
a
is.
world-class museum. The St. Louis Children's Choirs, they are tender in my heart. I'm on their board, but I've had so many students who had been members of that, and they do a fabulous job. They have over 100 young people that they work with every season, and they are learning not only how to sing together, they are learning the basics of musicianship. These kids come out of there able to read. They are really well schooled, so by the time they graduate from high school, they are ready for any college thing. A lot of them test out a theory in sight
wow.
singing, or as when we were in college,
Yeah.
sight screaming and ear straining.
Yeah, sight singing. If you can get out of sight singing, you're doing great.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Sight screaming.
I know.
But they do a fabulous job with these kids, and it's also a character thing. And with that goes a $150 gift certificate to Timothy's Restaurant, which is fabulous. The Repertory Theater, 2 tickets to that. Giordano Jazz Company at Dance St. Louis, 4 tickets to that, and a gift certificate to Kemel's.
Oh, yeah.
All sorts of goodies.
What do y'all think?
Yeah,
about
we've
that?
had several
Wonderful.
people. Yeah, bring on the applause.
This is wonderful.
We've had some people who've really been out there beating the streets, and primarily special thanks to a board member by the name of Elizabeth Laspy and especially to our new Director of Corporate Relations and Sales, and that is Patty Reish. She has been a force to deal with, but they've been out there just, getting these wonderful things. Patty has marvelous vision. She has a tremendous background, not only in radio, but also in print media. So she was married for a while for several years, to a Coast Guard member. So she lived in Kodiak, Alaska.
Oh, wow.
She lived in Hawaii, and I've been to both places, and so it's great fun to get to know Patty. But she's been a dynamo, and she's kind of taken point on putting this whole event together. Wow.
Now, when people think of classical music and Classic 107.3, they think, well, I'll need to wear a formal tonight. What is the dress?
Casual. So, something that you would, maybe not cutoffs, but, casual dress. And that's the whole idea. I think you're right. There's still that concept in some minds that, oh, this is classical music. This is serious music. Sit at attention, Mr. Stricker.
Right. Back straight.
It's about time. Somebody told me.
But really, so many classical musicians, it's been my experience, and my whole life has kind of been around musicians and as part of my own world. We love to have fun. It's kind of like these crazy broadcasters that we are here.
Yeah.
We just all love it. And of course, you're a musician, Arnold.
Yep.
And, the thing is that I think people that are creative like that do think outside the box. They're ready to grab onto that energy impulse and that kind of thing. So some of the conversations can be absolutely not only hilarious, but incredibly intriguing. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
Again, so dress as casual, folks.
Yeah.
It's free parking. You don't have to be shuttled there. It's going to be on site.
And there's a phone number again?
There is a phone number.
To get tickets at the
To
last
get
minute?
tickets at very last minute ticket, 314-881-3523. I'll say that again.
What's that number? Call before midnight tonight?
Call before midnight.
Okay.
Call before midnight. Well, it'll be over by midnight.
That's
actually.
right.
Call before, let's see, downbeat is 6 p.m., I believe. Okay. So call 314-881-3523. And if you want to just get more information about the event itself, go to our website, which is classic1073.org.
And if you are interested in the silent auction, you can go to classic1073.givesmart.com, classic1073.givesmart.com, and get more information about that. You can do that on your phone, which is very dangerous for those people who really have double thumb usage extremely well. They can type 100 words with two thumbs.
I'll tell you what, I can't. I guess my fingers are too fat or something. I never thought they were, but boy, when it got into texting, it comes out all gobbledygook, and I have to read and reread, and I still send out some things that are just.
I hate
totally
spell
cryptic.
check.
Well, maybe you are spelling it
Spell
correctly.
check, yeah,
and
and spell check will correct
it's
it.
messing you up.
It is.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, there are times that happens.
Yeah.
And it also has no idea of punctuation.
No.
The conjunction it apostrophe s, it is, it's,
Right.
they'll consistently put an apostrophe when you're talking in the possessive. Its main purpose is, and they'll put
And
I'm not a fan of spell check.
You can tell we are of the generation that when we text, we actually use proper grammar and punctuation.
Why, sure.
And
So I dictate now. I
do too.
And I even have to say question mark,
Right.
exclamation mark,
yeah, semicolon.
period.
Yep.
But
Maybe I should start doing that.
Try it.
It's very helpful.
It does.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that
The
tip.
dictating works pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Plus, I don't like to do it when I drive, so I just
Right.
talk.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Right. That's a whole show on
Remind
texting
me,
and driving.
What was your license plate again?
No.
Stay away from your traffic.
Looks just like your car.
DNGR.
I love it. Danger. I should probably also thank everybody else who has participated in putting this event together. We had Patty, like I said, who's sort of taken point on this. And then also we have Sandra Richardson, who's in our development department. And I'll talk a little more about her in a minute. And Carol Comerford has been helping put this together. And also Julie Schuster's son, Anton. He's been a boon this last couple of weeks in helping to get the information organized, and get it all into a cohesive form where I can
Right.
come here and run my mouth.
Right.
But it's been great. Now
Cool.
we have our main development person, whose name is Linda Shedlovsky, is retiring. This is her last event. Today is her last day.
Oh, well, cool.
So we're, it's sort of a going away party and everything for Linda. But
She's like, wow, look at this party you're throwing
Yeah,
for
I
me.
know. Break out
He
that
brought
wine.
he brought wine and jazz.
That's
Wow.
right. And we're going to have all the gang there tonight. Tom Sutholt will be there. He's the afternoon host. And our engineer, Brandon Lemieux, is going to be there. And maybe even Gino Belosi, who's our chief engineer, who gets us from the station up on the air, to the tower and all that. So I think he's going to be there. Leonard Slatkin's going to be there.
Cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. It really will. And
Name
it's small
dropper.
enough where you can really, rub shoulders and schmooze a little bit.
Right.
That's wonderful.
I love to schmooze.
Yeah, schmooze and booze.
So
get
this
you
is
off the-
Wine and Jazz Under the Stars tonight at Laumar Sculpture Park, 6 p.m. Musical guest, the Ryan Marquez Quartet, Classic 107.3. For more information, 314-881-3523.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we would just love to see you there. And if you can't be there, because, you may be hearing this at the last minute, you have other plans, do check out the silent auction items, because that's really fun. And that, once again, classic1073.givesmart.com.
What a beautiful night for. Oh,
Yeah.
The weather's
gorgeous.
weather's just perfect.
And that's a wonderful park, too.
It is.
It is.
And how do you call it? I call it Lohmeyer.
I call it Laumar.
Lohmeyer.
Lohmeyer.
That's
Okay.
because of our German background.
Is that it?
See,
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're a musician, you have to deal with all these German phrases and these Italian phrases and
Right.
stuff. So
Okay.
you,
All right.
Lohmeyer, yeah?
I know. I figured you all were right and I was wrong.
No. Potato. Look at us.
Okay.
I mean, we call Spade road, Spady.
Or
Right. Gravois.
is it
Gravois.
poinsettia or poinsettia? Or what is it?
Poinsettia.
Poinsettia. Okay. There you
Oh,
go.
that's an argument that goes
There we
on
go.
and on and
I
on.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another one.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
It's an
Would be-
exit rant we've taken, Kathy.
Yeah, we've taken a little exit ramp.
That's all right.
Would be, and we learned this from one of our guests one time, Dutchtown, the southern part of
Right.
the city,
Scrubby Dutch.
was really, it was full of Germans at the time, and it was Deutschtown. And during an event, some people who came to challenge some of the Germans called them Dutchtown, and so it really should be Deutschtown.
Oh, my.
Really?
Yes.
But it just sort of got
It
transliterated.
transliterated,
Transliterated.
Yeah,
as-
we'll take an E out
These
of
words
Deutsch,
are coming
and now we've got Dutch.
Dutchtown.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Right.
It's a poor day. You don't learn something
I
new,
know
isn't
it.
it?
I know. This is a wealth of information.
This show is, we're full of trivia.
That's right. Some useless, some kind of neat.
Right, some helpful. So Classic 107.3, the voice for the arts, their activity tonight, the 6th annual Wine and Jazz Under the Stars at Laumar
Just say,
Park.
yeah, right.
The sculpture park.
The Sculpture Park. Parking's free, silent auction, casual dress. Yeah, everybody knows where that's at. It's down in Sunset Hills.
Down there, way down,
Down there.
It's in Sunset Hills.
It's all in your perspective.
Oh, it's an inside joke we have.
Down there.
Down there.
Way down there.
Oh, golly.
Thank you for coming in.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
yeah.
Good to
This
have
has
you
been so
back.
much fun. Are we already done? Holy smokes.
Will you come back again soon?
Yeah.
Come on, what a delight
I'll
to
bring
have you.
pastries.
Really? Okay. All right, if
She'll
you
get
come
those
on,
Miss Hullings.
Yeah, if you come on Friday, we got the whole Miss Hulling
There
stuff
we go.
upstairs.
See, for you Facebook people who are watching this, you see, we'll just all get
Right,
together and munch
right,
out.
Right. I know.
Thanks, Kathy.
Well, I want to thank you all too
Yeah.
for doing this, and I want to have you on my show. and
She's
do an
pointing at
interview
Arnold.
With you.
Pointing
I'm
at
pointing at Arnold.
Yes.
Because he is a clarinetist, and just last week sat in with
Tell us.
the.
Pray tell.
Set
Tell
in
the
with-
story. Come on. I want to hear the
I'd
whole.
love to.
I'm sorry. I don't. Yeah.
I'm
If
gonna
I'd shut
tell all
up
this.
right now.
Arnold's
ahead.
going, shush, shush.
I know. Please. All right, go ahead.
But we had a live stream of the All-American Alumni Band. And it was members of the high school band. Do you remember the marching band, the McDonald's All-American High School Band? They were in the Macy's Day Parade, they were in the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl. And they also had the opportunity to play at places like Carnegie Hall and
Right.
some of the finest halls in the country. And these were all high school kids, high school seniors. They had two guys, or two players, I shouldn't say guys, that's my Midwest coming out. They had two players from every state, plus D.C. and two of the Virgin Islands,
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. And so they would march and all that, but they discontinued funding this for a very long time. McDonald's did. Well, one of them got the idea, Allison Felter over at Opera Theater St. Louis, said, why don't we, they'd been corresponding a little bit, why don't we maybe have a reunion? So they did this 3 years ago.
It was 3 years
here
ago.
in St. Louis, and they did it at the Shaw Bandstand out in Compton, Tower Grove Park,
Right.
where the Compton Heights Band plays. And so this year they did it again. Well, on Saturday, we were kind of getting some iffy weather forecasts and decided maybe we should bring it in. So they moved into where they'd been rehearsing, which was Kirkwood Presbyterian. I immediately made a bunch of PSAs, to say we've changed our location and everything. We live streamed it, and it was fabulous.
Really?
And Arnold sat in as one of the clarinetists because he was in the Compton Heights Band for a long time.
I was a guest clarinetist.
Yeah, he
Guest
was.
guest performer.
Guest performer, yay! And we also had the opportunity to present a proclamation to Harry Swanger, and his wife Kitty, who really founded the Compton Heights Concert Band.
That was a proclamation from the mayor of the city of St.
City,
Louis,
yeah.
Mayor Jones.
Yeah. And it was really quite a nice moment, and I know the Swangers were ever so appreciative. And the president of the All-American Alumni Band presented it to us. And it was quite a tender moment. It was pretty nice.
It was a wonderful concert. It was an opportunity for, and I was not a member of the McDonald's group. I was what we call in the
Spectator.
music business, I was a ringer.
That's right.
And but I can play,
You
so
still are.
I wasn't just a body sitting in a chair wiggling my
You
fingers.
still are.
Um,
Go ahead.
He was a ringer, but not of bells.
right, not a bell ringer, but it was very fun. A director was brought in to rehearse the band, and
Stephen Gage.
all right, he was a retired director, and most musicians can't stay retired. He's working at Indiana State University now, kind of
Okay.
on an interim basis.
Right. And
Fabulous
you
conductor.
played your clarinet.
Play my clarinet. We had rehearsals that
How
were.
long has it been since you've played your clarinet?
You want me to actually admit?
Yes,
Okay, so
I
I
mean,
was.
yes, yes.
So I was asked 2 weeks before the concert. We need a clarinet player. Would you be willing to play? I had not played for about almost a year.
Oh, that's
And
not bad.
prior
Not
to
going-
that, I had not played for about 15 years.
Oh, okay, that's bad.
But
Pull out the soft reeds.
But when-
Twos, 2.5.
yeah, I have reeds that are 45 years old. So,
Wow, really?
But no, when having
socks that old.
having played a lot in college and afterwards as a band director, but playing a lot in college, I was a clarinet minor. So things they don't go away. They're there. You just need to work them back into shape. And the biggest thing that needed to come back into shape was my chops, my embouchure. And we were practicing 6.5, 7 hours.
Did the mustache and beard get in the way?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just
Actually helps. No.
Really? Okay. So it's not like riding a bike. You had to practice. You had to get.
Oh, I had to practice. I could have played probably for about 3 minutes.
And that's it.
And the concert was an hour and a half. So I had it's an endurance kind of thing. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
running, or it's like
It is. You gotta get
it's an
yourself up in
athletic
shape.
kind of thing. You're using muscles that you normally don't use. Yeah, you're using air.
And I was going to say your lungs. You have to have good lungs, I would think.
So it's a process, and that's why practicing is important. You just can't pick it up and
So
go.
now have you quit practicing now that you
No,
it's
I
over?
have actually practiced after that. I didn't practice yesterday or the day before. Today I have to practice. So.
Okay. Or your lips will go.
Yeah, my lips are pretty good. It's when you play for an extended period of time without a break. And, when we rehearsing, you rehearse, you'll play a
calluses
song,
for a
or maybe
guitar player.
the director will rehearse a section of that, and so you're resting. But when you go, it's kind of like running a marathon. If you ran for 100 yards and you stopped and, okay, I'm going to run for now a half a mile, I'm going to stop. Now I'm going to run for maybe 3/4 of a mile and stop. But when you now all of a sudden, I got to run for 26 miles without stopping, that's different. So that's that endurance that you have to
So there was
build up.
no intermission?
There was brief intermission, as
Brief?
Kathy was stating.
the
The proclamation was a time. There was no formal intermission.
Okay.
And she did read some musical notes in between about the composition or about the
Kathy
composer, about
I did.
in between.
IMC'd.
Wow.
And those things are actually to help the performers rest. They're not
Strategically
doing.
placed.
Yeah, they do inform the audience of what's going on, but it's mainly to help the performers
So we're getting
catch
peek,
a break.
Yeah, we're getting a peek behind the curtain here.
That's right.
Okay.
Little peek behind the curtain. Mwahaha. Pay no attention to the woman behind the curtain.
He's only pushing bells and whistles.
I'm the great Oz. But it really does help because, first of all, the conductor doesn't have to be thinking about what am I going to say about this next, because the conductor has his or her head in the music, not in making the comments. So it's a very helpful thing to have an MC. And then, like Arnold said, it gave them, doing the proclamation, it took about 2 minutes. Just to read the proclamation itself, because proclamations are always stuffed
Whereas.
full of whereases and wherefores and all that.
And therefores.
So that also gave Kim, the president of the organization, the opportunity to walk the proclamation around so people could see it.
Oh, nice.
But then there were other things. I'd learned a couple of really touching stories the night before from Allison Felter, so I interjected those so that everybody had a minute or two to kind of go blah, 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 with their chops and kind of get their mouths back in shape. Because they were playing some really tough
Really
stuff.
complicated,
Yeah,
challenging.
and challenging, hard blowing concert is what we used to say in the Air Force Band. And it was something where you could kind of regain your chops a little bit. And it's not like you're playing every minute of every piece, but the thing is that you do feel that
Of course, there were two pieces. One was 4 pages long where there were no rests.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
No, really?
Okay.
Who picked that?
Who picked this piece?
But what's interesting as a performer and having sat under a lot of directors, and I wanted to be a high school band director since I was in 7th grade.
You'd have been great.
And I really enjoyed it. And once I got to do that, I was like, okay, now what do I want to do? Because I had achieved my goal. And I was conflicted in a lot of different ways. But the story that I really want to tell about this is when you sit under directors, you learn what to do and what not to do, what's effective and what's not effective, what to say, what not to say, when to take a break, when not to take a break. I learned several things in these rehearsals, and that's when you really learn. And he mentioned this, and it's really true. The camaraderie that you develop and the musicianship that you're gleaning with your fellow musicians happens during the rehearsal. The concert is almost like an afterthought. It's like you start, you stop, boom, it's done. But all of the interactions that you have with the director, with the people that you're performing with, that happens during rehearsal. He said a couple things. One is about style. And the director, Steve Gage, and we had a conversation about style, that style is really not being taught in high schools and colleges. And what we're talking about is how you play a march versus how you play an overture. Or march style is a huge specific style, knowing how to play that, when to put an accent on, and how light you need to play music. And he defined staccato, which I've always defined as light and separated, as a ping pong ball. And then he defined regular tonguing as like a tennis ball. And then if you're doing a legato tongue, which would have a tenuto mark on top of it, which I always called smooth and connected, it's a basketball. And so it's a visual kind of thing also for people to understand a ping pong ball, a tennis ball, and a basketball as to when it bounces and the space that it takes up on what it lands on is really your thought process on how long that note should be, which I thought was very good.
I love that metaphor. That's fabulous.
Yeah. And the second thing he said, which was very touching to all the band members, was, and it's very emotional also, because many of the audience were elderly at the concert.
Yes.
And he said, and we played some great music. America the Beautiful by Carmen Dragon, the arrangement is just a classic version. We played Stars and Stripes Forever. But we played, some John Williams songs and some other very, very nice music. But he said, some people, and he said this when we were practicing the Star Spangled Banner. He said, some people will hear this music for the very first time. And some people will hear it, this will be the last time they hear it.
Yes.
So when you play it,
Yes.
play it.
Play it.
And that was like, everybody was like, woo.
Yeah. That's really interesting that you would say that, because Mary Weber, the trumpeter here in town, she's just a tremendous player. She actually used that same quote here a few weeks ago, that, and she plays a lot of the military funerals out at Jefferson Barracks. There again, for some people, this may be the first time they've heard it.
Right.
And others, the last.
Right.
And of course, the impact that they had is on the families too.
Absolutely.
And being a veteran, I think about that kind of thing a lot. So when I'm doing a Star Spangled Banner, or a God Bless America, you have to connect to that emotion. But I thought Stephen was a phenomenal conductor. I really did. I loved watching him, because I was able to be sort of on the side where I could see his interaction with the band. And his expressions were so great, and every fiber of his being was in the music. And he was so clear. We've all worked with conductors who have what they call a circular beat,
Right.
the Hakawi beat, where the Hakawi,
Yeah.
but...
Yeah, that's true.
And that's when you just simply bury your head in the stand and keep going, and you don't watch. You actually develop a corporate agreement
Right.
as to what you're going
Everybody's
to do.
listening to everybody else.
Right.
Oh.
What a concept that is.
Yeah.
But then there are other conductors who just give you so much, and they get so much from the band too, because they're getting expressions, and they're getting
Right.
the eyes and that kind of thing. So there again.
Yeah, that's another thing that he brought out. And with this particular group, sometimes when you have, and this is not a diss on professional musicians, because I was a professional musician, not any longer, but when some people have egos that they are like the greatest thing since sliced bread. And this particular group, there were no egos. And everybody played together. And it was probably, the musicianship in that group was as good as when I was playing at the University of Kansas. And we had a lot, mostly music majors playing. And this group, they all wanted, okay, we can play this music, give us more, pull more out of us, rehearse us more. We just don't want to go through the motions here. We want to play the music. So how do you view this? And that's what he did. He felt that was evident, which is, an important role, because it could be that you got enough people like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to have to go through this. We got this down. Let's not worry about it. No, he was pulling more and more and more out of us, which was very good. That's what I appreciated.
Yeah, and you guys were great. You really gave it to him too. It was what he wanted. They went with. Well, and they also had, one of their missions is to help educate and mentor young musicians. They had 3 high school musicians that had been nominated
wonderful.
by their band director to sit in the band.
Oh, great.
A young lady playing saxophone, a young gentleman playing tuba, and
Flute.
a flutist. Yeah, a young man playing flute.
Wow.
And so we recognized those students as well. And it was a heartthrob kind of a performance, that it was just...
Yeah, it was. And one of those stories from one of those students, the saxophone player, her mom would bring her, these students were from the Visual Performing Arts magnet school in the city. And
It's great.
her grandmother bought her this saxophone, and her grandmother was pretty much bedridden at the time. But knowing that her granddaughter was in this concert, she came to the concert. It was fabulous.
It was great, and I had the opportunity to meet her grandmother beforehand. That was one of the stories that Allison had told me the night before. And so I talked to her because there's nothing that's more terrifying or scary than somebody calling you out when you weren't expecting it. And
Right.
you know that they're on the radio. And I said to her, do you mind if I talk about this? You know, I'd like to tell your story. And she was so sweet and so gracious. And it was, Dakota was the young lady's
Right.
name that was the player. And I think that Sondra, the grandmother, was very gratified. And of course, the fact that she could actually be there, you know, because she'd been convalescing for so long,
Right.
that was a very special moment.
Oh, yeah.
Another one was a fellow who had lived in Maine, who lives in Maine. His wife had been in the hospital. And she had just gotten out of the hospital, but she was determined she was going to be part of this concert. And she had already organized, whether it was going to be in her hospital room or at home, she'd already organized a listening party for the live stream.
Oh, wow. I hadn't heard that story.
Yeah. And so, well, you were probably playing with a reed.
No doubt I was.
Out there whittling, you know, the oboe players and the clarinetists and saxophonists. But it was just great, you know. So we called out Russell. I can't think of his last name. One of the clarinetists, and did a little shout out to Mary. We will be rebroadcasting that concert. I don't know exactly when, but I'll let you know,
Please,
Arnold.
please do.
Because I think you'd like to know. And
I'd like to hear it.
yeah,
Sit back
yeah.
and listen. Are they going to do it again next year?
It's possible. I know that they're going to have another reunion concert now. As to exactly whether it'll be a year or 2 years, and exactly where it'll be, we don't know.
Yeah, they had a reunion concert in Ohio earlier. At
So they go
Memorial Day.
around the country, or is that it? Or,
Well, kind of centralized for people from the coast to come.
gotcha.
Yeah, and so this was their third concert together, and so
They actually marched in the Memorial Day parade in Ohio.
Okay, we're getting close to the end here, guys.
I don't think there's any marching any longer.
We need another hour with Kathy.
Oh, I'd love to. You call, I'll haul. Just let me know.
You
when
need to
wanna-
sing next time you come.
There
I
you
want to
go.
hear you sing next time.
Okay.
So don't forget,
No.
folks,
We'll do something
the
nice like God Bless America.
Right.
the event tonight, Wine and Jazz Under the Stars, Classic 107.3. For more information, 314-881-3523 for tickets. That's tonight, September the 9th at 6 p.m. The Ryan Marquez Quartet.
That's hard to do, isn't it? Kez Quor.
Yeah, it's a double one there.
Yeah. Ryan Marquez Quartet. And they are going to be terrific. And food by Hendry's Catering, Bomarito Wines and Spirits for the wine, and Urban Chestnut for the beer. And
It'll be
we
fun.
hope you can see you tonight.
It'll be fun. Well, that's all for this hour. Thanks for listening, folks. Don't forget, when the Martians invade, they must get a permit. There's always been one race, the human race, and every one of us have different characteristics and is uniquely valuable. St. Louis in Tune is a production of Motif Media Group and the U.S. Radio Network. For St. Louis in Tune, co-host Mark Langston, I'm Arnold Stricker. Remember to walk worthy and let your light shine.